Hey, you remember when Chuck Wendig wrote good books? The correct answer is no. And hey, me neither. Let's talk about Aftermath Life Debt. Aftermath Book 2. This is his new Star Wars series. It's not even new. This came out like 2 months ago or so. I'm finally getting to review this. It's awful. But did we expect anything less from Chuck Wendig? My answer was no. I mean, there's a glimmer of hope that he would learn from writing books in 45 days and writing things in the third person present tense, but no, it's back. What happened in this book? Well, our characters from the last book are sent to go rescue Han Solo and Chewbacca from Kashyyyk, I do believe. You see, it's hard to figure out what's going on in this book because it's so awful. And, of course, we've got the, a bunch of, those interludes are back. Not as many this time. It's the one positive of this book. There's less interluding going on. Not much less, but it's not every other chapter. There's only a few, and they're all useless. In fact, I think there was a sequel interlude to an interlude from the first book. So I think there's a storyline going on Tatooine that was in the first book. I know it was in the second book. It was a waste of time. So, overall, a lot of the interludes from the first book, with the exception of one, they have nothing to do with anything. Maybe two. Because, like I said, I think there was one from the first one that's followed up in another interlude. One interlude, however, the Space Diapers interlude, the infamous one, with Dengar and that new guy. That new bounty hunter shows up and he does practically nothing in this book. I mean, he does something, but Chuck Wendig decided to not write about it. It's just like, oh, he did his job and it's done. It might have been exciting, but who knows? It's not in this book. Our main villain is introduced. I don't even remember his name. That's the thing. There's so many characters, but you don't care about any of them. Nora Wexley has an arc. She's the mom. Temid's mom. They all kind of have arcs, but the thing is you don't care. Actually, no, they don't all have arcs, because Sinjir and Jazz and John Burrell really are just there because we need more characters, I guess. They don't really have anything going on. Well, we'll get into this then. So this book is a tonal mess. Like, it's just awful. I've never read a Star Wars book where we had let's get into this. We got porn in a Star Wars book. Like, there's some hardcore, excuse my language, it's gonna be profane, but there's some hard fucking in this book. Yeah. People are doing the nasty. We got interspecies eroticas, the brack on human action sort of going on there. We have a brutal eye being ripped out. Yeah, John Burrell loses an eye, spoilers. In fact, it's not like it's gouged out, it's pulled out of the socket. That's disgusting. And then we have therapy Ewoks. You heard me right. Therapy Ewoks in a fucking Star Wars book. It's not Dave Filoni's Clone Wars here, Chuck Wendig. We don't need to have retarded things like that in there. Come on. Really? But no, we've got fucking therapy Ewoks in a Star Wars porn book where some guy gets his eye fucking ripped out. Oh, and we have a sort of love triangle thing going on, because spoilers. I'm just going to spoil this book throughout because no one should read this. This is horrible. Nora finds her husband in a prison, and I'm like, oh, and he's alive. But she's been having some relations with Wedge, So now we got this fucking forced love triangle thing going on. Uh, just just a bunch of dumb things happen in this book. Oh, the climax of the book. We'll get into that. Well, first of all, the whole life debt thing is Chewbacca owes Han Solo life debt. Thing that's been established forever, pretty much, and Han and Leia are about to have a child. Yeah, Leia's pregnant. I remember a second book in another trilogy of books where Leia was pregnant. I believe it was called Dark Force Rising by Timothy Zahn. It was actually not a bad book. So, Chuck Wendig, once again, is not being original and just being lazy. Again. There's a trend here. It's called Chuck Wendig Sucks at pretty much everything that has to do with literature. So, it just keeps... So, Han has Chewbacca leave. Chewbacca's staying on Kashyyyk because they rescue Kashyyyk. Which, oh my god, what a dumb series of events. So, Leia sends reinforcements to help them. Because Mon Mothma, because she's a pansy-ass dumb bitch, will not rescue Kashyyyk. Even though she's like, we gotta get the star systems back. But I'm a fucking idiot, and I'm trying to demilitarize my own government, even though we haven't won the war yet. So, I'm a fucking dumbass. Yeah. And that's how she sounds in the audiobook that Mark Thompson does. She sounds like that. And so, Admiral Akbar says, fuck it. And he goes in anyway because Mon Mothma's a dumb bitch. Leia throws a tantrum, which is understandable because Mon Mothma's being a dumb bitch. And I think their friendship's ruined at this point. Which is funny because Leia looks back on Mon Mothma and New Republic Bloodline and it's like, oh, the Mon Mothma years were great. And I'm like, really? Your husband and his best friend were fucking lost in wild space and Mon Mothma didn't want to do anything about it and you were very upset about that. I wouldn't think of that as fond years. I'd think of that as fucking stressful myself. But that's my opinion. So we get to the conclusion of this, and trust me, I'm getting there because it's so terrible. So Admiral Sloane is manipulated by the puppet master, whose name's escaping me, the main guy, the guy who's pulling all the strings of what's the not Imperial Revenant, which is slowly becoming the First Order. He sends her in to do a peace treaty, but he's brainwashed all the prisoners on Kashyyyk to go kill everyone. So Mon Mothma's shot doesn't die, which I was really disappointed. I was cheering. I'm like, yes, kill her, kill her, kill her, kill her. I can deal with the continuity here. Just kill her, kill her. And she's fine. Just a flesh wound. Nothing bad. So, once again, no big things were taken away. Oh, a character died that was introduced in the early part of the book and never talked about again. Well, actually talked about like one time. Had no character, died. So I really felt sad. Fuck you. So, this book's terrible. 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 Oh, Nora and Sloane fight. And Nora gets her ass handed to her, which is pretty funny. Because, let's face it, Sloane's the only character who actually has motives in the whole fucking book. So, of course, I'm going to root for her, even though she's the villain. Oh, and it ends with the Empire's invading Jakku for some reason that's not explained, except for it's the main villain's homeworld. And we get a flashback to how he became friends with Palpatine, and Palpatine's name's Skeef. What a terrible name. You might as well name him Sleeve, or something, or Shit. It's just like, are you serious? The whole thing with Palpatine not having a name in the EU was interesting, because he thought his name was terrible, so he took his family name to give his family a better name, sort of thing going on. It's explained in Darth Plagueis. Good book, by the way. Read that instead of this. But no, We have Skeev, Emperor Skeev Palpatine. What's his middle name? Steve. Yeah, why is it his first name is Steve? I think it's a better name. Skeev's not menacing, but neither. I mean, Steve's not menacing, but Skeev, that's not menacing either. Like, ooh, I have this cool name, Skeev. Yeah, it's just what a terrible, terrible book. What did I think of this overall? It's awful. It's awful. But out of 5 stars, because we have to put into we have to calculate in that he took out a lot of the stupid, I can't say that enough. Interludes. He cut them down significantly, but they were still there. The bad writing's still there. You see, a lot of people are saying this is better than Aftermath, and I disagree. I think it's worse, because he should have learned to write better. So, Empire's End, no hope for that book. It's going to be terrible. But hey, Chuck Wendig's writing the comic book adaptation of Force Awakens, so I guess Disney's going to keep him around. He's going to be their new Zahn. So anyway, this is my Aftermath Life Debt review. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for the profanity, but hey, it is what it is when dealing with Chuck Wendig. Anyway, have a nice day.